Hi, it's me, Annalisa. It is Sunday, April 4th. I always go April 4th, 2021. It is also Easter Sunday. So if you celebrate, happy Easter. I don't know why you would come here, but welcome anyway. um, Let's see, we'll do as always, all readings and divinations are for the purposes of entertainment only, as in accordance with the law. I am not a doctor, a therapist, or a lawyer, or a financial advisor. If you need one of those, please seek those. Let's see, cool things that have been happening. My mom came to visit. Yay! I'm going to get my vaccine this coming Friday. I'm using my clergy card. So like in New York, they just said last week sometime, like if you're 30 and up, you can get your shot. I'm like, Murphy, our governor, is going like, hey, starting April 6th, you're going to be able to get your shot if you're 55 and up. We're really opening it up. And I'm like, motherfucker. I think earlier I said, I won't use my clergy card. I don't want to take advantage of that. But I feel like it's been long enough that people who really need to, who have been, are really at risk and all of that have been covered or have been eligible already. So I'm using the clergy card, y'all. So I'm going to get my shot on. I'm doing the Johnson & Johnson, so it's one and done. And I was like looking up the efficacy and all of that stuff, and it's actually pretty good. And why the hell not? I got your payment, Dulcie. No problem. You're on the list. So I don't know. I think KK, hello KK, welcome. Thank you for always being here and being so dependable. And I'll add you in. If you can add Dulcie in for her question as well, that'd be great. Oh, Mary doesn't have a question this round? Absolutely, you can have a quick general reading, Dan. No problem. So I hope everybody is well. What else is going on? I feel like there was a few things I was going to... Oh, okay. So I don't know what it's called. I can't remember the name of it, but maybe y'all know it because it's like sort of going around as a big, like, you should practice this. And it's, it feels like it's like Polynesian or from Hawaii or something like that. And it's the idea of like when there's trouble or whatever, when you see you try and look at how you can heal the situation or how you heal yourself to heal the situation. So I had this, like, we went, my mom, my mom's in town. So we went to the girls really like going to the mall. So we went to the mall with my mom and, they were like cranky people. Like everybody seems on edge and it was interesting. And maybe, who knows, maybe it's a holiday season. Maybe it's just kind of stuff in general that's going on. I thought it was interesting to observe, but this woman, so we went into Macy's to go to the bathroom. And the escalators were broken. So you had to take the elevator. And we had to use it because it was either like it was not on the floor we were on. We had to go up or down. And so we were going to go back up the elevator and we went to get on. And this woman went to hold the doors open. And I said, oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You were really quick on the ball on that. And then I said, could you push whatever floor? And she didn't push it. I was like, yeah, could you push that, lower up or whatever it was? And then I asked a third time and she goes, please. And I went, are you serious? Because I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Because A, we're in a pandemic and you're standing in front of all the buttons and you have all the control because I'm not supposed to come close to you because you're, not in my household. But I was like, are you serious? She goes, yes. And I was like, oh my God. No, it was not like fisticuffs, but I was like, and I walk off and I think, well, boy, it's more rude to correct somebody than to just like do it and let it go. But then I thought, well, why is this bothering me? So like, let's look at it like what's inside of me that's bothering me that might have manifested in that sense. Because yeah, that's where I go. And what I found interesting when I really sat for a couple minutes and thought about it and was like calm. And I find myself getting a little irritated. And it's like a lot of people do it. Friends and people I know will email me or text me and say, blah, 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 and want psychic insight or medical information because their kids may have something. I'm like, are you familiar with this? Whatever. And I don't get a thank you, and I don't get, hey, how are you? Like nothing, no niceties. And I was getting a little annoyed with it. And I thought, well, what this was a reflection. This woman was doing the same thing that I was. And I thought, oh, well, it just doesn't really matter. Like I need to like let that go. And because whatever all of that is, not saying thank you or not saying how are you, whatever, it's like literally nothing to do with me. And I need to just like let it go. And she was like the reflection of it right in front of me. Kay sent for 2. Okay, I'll check in just a minute. So I just thought it was interesting and thought maybe that would be something good for you guys to like look at it that way, is that maybe it's not really that you're being negative or rude and you're, whatever. It's just the things that go on in here will manifest in interesting ways. And I did find myself yesterday, like when, was it yesterday? Wasn't yesterday, it was Friday. Like surrounding her and like sending her lots of healing. Like I was like, I'm just going to keep sending her healing. Like that's all I know to do. I'm just going to keep sending her healing. But then when I stepped back from it, because I kept feeling it like perk up a little bit. So I guess my guides were sort of forcing me to kind of look at it in a different perspective. Besides the fact that it's just about her, but what is it within me that would manifest that into the 3D? So that's the lesson, y'all. That's a way to look at things. Perhaps to heal it and move on. Trying to think of any other little tidbits of things that I've learned and looked at that I kind of want to share, pass along. I don't know. If it comes to me, it'll come to me. So I hope you're well. Okay, so let me look at who's all, and then I'll look at yours, Patricia, because you're number 1. If you could like and subscribe and share me with your friends and tell everybody how wonderful I am, I would really appreciate it, because that is how people find out about me. I don't have the tags on here right now to get me noticed by the algorithm of the YouTube gods. I wouldn't mind the YouTube gods either. I got Shatha after Dulcie for 1, and Urban. Thank you, Miss Urban Lady. Okie dokie, y'all. Let's get going. Oh, good. It's not buffering. Hi, Laura. Okay, so, shoot. I was just gonna say, do y'all watch tarot readers on here ever? Like the ones that do the like pick a pile kind of things like that. Okay, I don't know who you would be on here. So I've got, hang on. The last one I have is for Erica. Are you okay? So there's this woman, Julissa. She's got these crazy nails. She's pretty good. She's got a lot of, she picks up a lot intuitively. I think she's clairaudient. She's pretty good. But I noticed a lot of them, because I like to like see who I think is reading, who's comfortable, who's like, there's so many of them where I'm like, oh, you could do better than this. You got so much more going on. You need to like just get bold and get crazy about it. I do find it interesting that so many lean on tarot for a crutch instead of just like going with their own intuition. Because like, listen, are you going to pull out the cards like in your middle? I mean, maybe you might. But I find them interesting. So anyway, she's pretty good. I think she's pretty highly connected and confident. And she's funny to listen to. She goes, let's get it, let's go. Okay. She's funny, but anyway, so that's that. I don't necessarily like go with all of their belief systems on like protecting yourself and all of that, because y'all know me. If you believe it, then it is. So if you believe you're safe and protected, then you are, and you don't need all the stuff. But okie dokie. I will check. It hasn't gone through yet, but it doesn't mean it won't. Sometimes things are just a little slow on my end. I've got a Kayla for 2. Like, so now it didn't show up at all before, and now it's actually in between two of the other ones. So is that you, Miss K? I'm guessing. That's you. Okie dokie. Oh, there's not too bad of a lag here. Okay. So where's my rock? I might be doing this rock free. See? That's the universe teaching you. You don't need it. I just like it as like a, I don't know, whatever you call it. One of my kids probably took it. Okay. All right, let's go. I just want to hold something. I don't know why. It just needs something in my palm here. There we go. All right. Miss Patricia, I'll scroll back up and find your question. Anything exciting coming my way in the next 3 months? I got it. We're good. So when I'm tapping into, I feel a few things, and I don't know about this in the next 3 months, but I just kind of want to like validate, I guess. I feel super, super tight in my solar plexus / what is it? Your root, your sacral chakra. Is that it? Root, sacral. I feel really tight in there. So does that resonate as having either? So your solar plexus would be how you relate the world, how the world relates to you, your self-esteem. But this also feels like, this almost feels low, a little bit lower. So also having like digestive issues, mulling over things, holding on to things, holding grudges. And maybe not grudges like in a, I'm going to get that motherfucker kind of way. Pardon my English. But more like just like really holding it to someone if they've wronged you. Not like you're going to get them, but like you don't let go of it. Does this resonate? Oh, you've been doing energy healing. I think you need to do a little bit lower than just the solar. So solar plexus feels more up here. It's just a little bit lower and tighter for me. It also is the feeling of like needing to breathe. Like consciously breathing, consciously stopping when you feel tight and when you feel stressed and like letting it go. And then maybe doing the thing that I did where I was like, why does this bother me that this woman was this way? Why did it trigger me to be like, are you serious? Y'all, I don't always have a filter. I try. But even when I was like, are you kidding? I still had that like, okay, like trying to look at it from a higher perspective and sending her healing and all of that stuff. So it's kind of like, try that practice of those things and the people that you're holding on to from the past, because it does feel like, I feel specifically like with romantic relationships, there's one gentleman in particular where I'm like, I mull over in my head, I'm speaking as if I'm you, because this is what happens when I sit in your energy. I say I, but I'm really talking about you. I mull over in my head like, oh, you know, how he wronged me, how it went wrong, how I like, you know, and not maybe looking at it from the perspective of how, where was I at in the mindset of allowing it? Not that I'm saying you're like, yeah, I totally want to be treated like shit and walked all over, but like, where was I at from a solar plexus state of mind of being like, because it does feel like almost like feeling like being taken advantage of. And I don't feel like, so your sacral chakra is kind of related to your sexuality, right? So like maybe feeling like I gave my heart and I gave myself to this person and he just used me and left me, kind of thing. Like, just like maybe he looked at it like with friends with benefits and I looked at it like, oh, this will turn into something more. And I don't know what it is, but it's like feeling like I'm mulling it over, or really like just like constant, this anger I can't let go of. And sort of maybe look at it from the perspective of like, what did I need to heal in me to heal this situation, to release it and let it go? And they just said to me, it goes way back. So like looking way back into my self-esteem and the stories I was taught myself and needing to, they said, put others first, feeling like others' happiness was more important than mine. Venture to say there's a bit of narcissistic parent, and I'm leaning towards mom being a bit of a narcissistic parent, like sort of, you can correct me if I'm wrong. List is still open. Yes. So it's sort of this feeling of like, if I can release that and understand that I was infused with this belief system and understand that he was sort of like a mirroring what I thought of myself, and forgive him for what he did, and also thank him in a way, right? Because even if they're assholes, they're still teaching us something, right? So it's like on a higher level, well, thanks for willing to be the asshole in my life. And the total piece of shit. Because on a higher level, none of us are really like this, right? At least the majority. It gets worse after you eat and leads to the fear of eating. So look at that then. Look at what happens if you eat. Go to the worst place ever. When I have friends who have anxiety and they're just talking to me, I'm like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Like, go there. Go with like, okay, I'm going to attack that. Instead of being like, this could have, it's like, okay, what if that happens then? What if, I'll check for it in just a minute, Stephanie. I want to talk to Patricia for just a few. What if, I don't know, maybe you're afraid of eating. Maybe you're afraid of eating because eating gains weight. And what happens if I'm food allergies? Okay. Rejection of nourishment. Like if you think about it, like food sensitivities, especially when it's to healthy foods, rejection on a metaphysical plane, not on a reality plane. But it's also like on a reality plane, it's like your body is physically perceiving something that's safe as a danger and going into overdrive. So perhaps then on a spiritual, metaphysical level, you're looking at things that are not food related, but relationship related, people related, or having calm and safety and things that are normally fine, right? As being a bad thing and needing to keep it out, keep it away, keep it at bay. I don't know, look at it bigger is the feeling they're giving me, is look at it bigger and release it as you're doing the energy healing and the solar plexus healing, release it in that sense. Right. But we're talking like, when somebody has a lot of allergies, there's really nothing wrong with their immune system. It's actually like stronger and overactive and perceives things as dangers that shouldn't be. So like it's like hyper alert. So it's like, when you're doing the energy healing the way they're making me feel like is doing it, also release the need to be on hyper alert, for your body to be on hyper alert, for your soul to be on hyper alert. Like that you no longer need that while it was there to protect you for a long time, it no longer needs to be there because you are safe, you are capable of taking care of yourself, and everything is okay. It's just a feeling I get from like that tightness. And I actually, as I'm talking about it, I feel like it's loosening up and but like my tummy muscles feel tight from it being like, or feel tired from it being so tight. Right. So when you're just kind of maybe before you do the hypnosis, kind of talk about that this came up and see if maybe she like maybe could we go to this area of feeling like on an emotional, mental, metaphysical level, not a physical level, feeling like things are perceived dangers when really they're totally fine. Like sometimes, so I had this when you grow up in a chaotic and traumatic environment, when you start to get things healthy and things feel calm and are like stable, it feels uncomfortable and it's scary. And sometimes you subconsciously create chaos because that's what you know. So it's not necessarily that I'm saying you like chaos or whatever, like you're creating, but it's like there might be this going on. And then when you say I want to trust and feel safe again, from a manifestation standpoint, it's I trust myself. I trust other people. I trust that the universe keeps other people away that will be unsafe away from me so that everybody that's let in is safe. I trust that even if for some reason that somebody gets through that's not, the universe, my guides, my intuition will key me in right away, and I'll know to set up healthy boundaries and barriers. And I feel safe, just flat out. I feel safe. I am safe. Again, I am protected. I'm highly protected. The universe always has my back. The universe is always working and conspiring in my favor, all those kind of things. Okie dokie. So here's what I would do. Maybe start looking for a problem, but heal this first before you really jump in. Because I think maybe even what that does is actually don't start looking for a partner. Because maybe what that is the universe kind of testing you to know that you can trust yourself to see the red flags and honor the red flags and be like, yeah, I'm going to listen to those because I know in the past when I didn't, X, Y, and Z happened and I wanted to like shoot I shot myself in the foot for that, like not listening. So maybe you got the intuition because it's like, so it doesn't necessarily mean that the first person that comes in is going to be the winner chicken dinner, but it means that maybe it's a test for you to know that you can trust yourself. Okay. All right. This is a general reading for Dan then. Good. I'm glad you joined me today then. All right. Did you recently have a little bit of I don't feel like it's a big blow up, but it feels like nitpicky arguments with your wife because they said let go of the feeling of the need to feel right. Like it feels like it's these weird little nitpicky arguments about like knowing you're right, but feeling like you really need to like let her know you're right. And I know your personality, you're very kind. And I want to preface this so there's never any, he's very nice. He's a very easygoing person, but it just feels like energetically kind of nitpicking at each other. And it feels like she's kind of hard-headed and yeah. And like sort of one of those people that maybe doesn't always listen to you for advice, like, or doesn't necessarily, like she'll find out you're right, but she won't even necessarily say like, oh, you're right. It's just like, I don't know if this makes sense. Jokes aside, seriously, does this make sense? Because they said, let go of the need to feel that you're right, or let her like, and it just feels connected to that, like feeling nitpicky little, it's not arguments. It just feels like little nitpicky crap back and forth. Not really. Okay, well, hold on to it because maybe it will. It just feels like, this too, that you two are on very different energetic levels. And I'm going to stick with it. And it feels like you might even not realize that you're doing it. So we'll leave it open to where does she resist confrontation? In a small way, maybe. Okay. It's just the feeling that maybe you're doing it and you're not fully aware that you're doing it, or maybe she's like, feels like she's not always heard. Because it's just this feeling of like, when I see her, it's like, she does that thing that good Christian wives do. They defer to their husbands. And even if they're feeling a certain way inside, and it feels like maybe you're doing something like, kind of like in a way, like, you're right. And it sort of shuts her down or dismisses her in a way. And I don't think you're doing it like intentionally. I think you probably are right. But she doesn't have that in her to talk about it. Mostly with her parents. it may happen on small levels that you're not really fully aware of. So perhaps this right now is just them saying like, hey, become a little bit more aware of your interactions and how you do things, and maybe focus on being like really feeling into her reactions, emotions intuitionally, instead of hoping she'll come forward and talk to you about it. Because I have a feeling there's a little underlying stuff that she's not talking to you about, or emotionally deciding to stuff it instead of confront it. And it's not that I think that you're unapproachable. I just think it's in her nature to confrontation is not really great. Or is, yeah, not read between the lines. Trust your intuition. Like, sometimes when we're highly intuitive beings, we forget to be intuitive a little bit with our loved ones. We forget to take a step back and look at like what's really going on, or what's, like I did with that woman, like what's triggering me here? Why are they like this? Like, and trying to look at it from a different perspective. So Miss Allie, you have 2 questions. Yikes. Sorry, different things keep popping up when I'm trying to do stuff. Allie, are you here? Are you here? We are here. We are here. Horton, here's a who. Will you be moving this year? Yeah, but I feel like October, November, like more towards the end of the year. What does that mean? They go with a slight variance in timing, and I don't know. Maybe it's something where like you plan on moving in September and then there's like a 4-week delay or something like that. So don't get like, maybe you have a headset that like, oh, I'll do it in October, and then it's not till November. But there just might be like, I have it set, we have the paperwork, everything, and then all of a sudden something happens and it just shifts the time a little bit. And then what's your other question? Wait, I said with a friend before, so I know them. Maybe that's what the timing thing is. It's different. I don't remember half the stuff. Y'all, I did a reading for a client that I have, a private reading, obviously, that I've had for several years. And I guess one of the very first readings for her, and I don't remember telling her that she was at risk for breast cancer because of like some of the energetic stuff that was going on, that like she needed to heal that, or that might end up manifesting. And it did. Luckily, it was caught very, very early. But what's interesting is from the very first reading that I did for her, her energy has shifted so beautifully, and she's done so much work along the way. Like, even I actually didn't pick it up when I was doing the reading. I just was like, oh my God, like this one was like huge, and was like, you've grown and changed so much. And like, I mean, hit on so many different things. And she's like, yeah, that's going on. And then she specifically asked about it. And then she told me like a long time ago, and I almost started crying, because I just thought, it's not that I don't want to know these things. It's just, to me, it's also really mind blowing, the stuff that comes through. So I don't remember the majority of the things when I do these readings. So when you're like, but you said before, I'm like, I can only tell you from this point on what I see. So sometimes things shift. Sometimes we shift things along. Hi, Lily, you're not too late. What are your guides like? So this is not, I will tell you, this is what I say to everybody. So I don't know, maybe think of a different question, but this is just one I can answer as a general for everybody. Your guides are kind of like you. So I'll say to you, like a lot of times if I'm reading somebody, I might go, oh, I know you have this kind of sense of humor because your guides are talking to me this way. Like, or I know you're kind of like very, because this is how your guides are being, like your guides tend to be pretty similar to you personality wise. You know how they say, like, when you're here on earth, if somebody's really, really like you, it's usually why you butt heads, but it's not like that with your guides. Your guides will have the same sense of humor as you do. They're not like, as much as people go like, oh, I'm sure my guides are like, oh God, I can't, like, what is wrong with this person? They are not like that. They're not banging their head against the wall, wondering why you're not getting it. They're just sitting there like, I know you'll get it eventually, and I'm going to be here with you every step of the way. Like, that's about what it is. I tend not to, so maybe this is like me too. Like sometimes I'll see your guides and a lot of times I don't. I just feel like it's like this collective energy. And my friend Tony asked me about this because I guess he was having somebody on his show who was like way into her guide. He's like, what are your guides? I'm like, I think they're really more just like for me, when I tap in, I can feel sometimes if it's a masculine or feminine energy, but oftentimes it's more just the collective energy that I'm tapping into. It's just like that's how it is for me. No, Tiffany, you're okay. We're still open. So if you want to ask a different question, you're welcome to. That's a little bit more specific to you. And then I'm just going to check and see if there's anybody else. Okay. After Kay, if you want to add Stephanie for 2 questions, please. KK, thank you. You're welcome, Allie. Hi, Cindy. You go ahead and type your questions. So yesterday, we had I guess we go through like quarters or whatever, and my coach will make like the last week where we had 2 days off, and then we had a workout yesterday, and it was like themed 70s, 80s workout. So I got a little outfit to wear. I thought it was hilarious. And I wore like my leg warmers, and the big fat wristbands and a headband, and just like a t-shirt, little shorts, whatever. And I wore like suntan colored tights because I don't know if maybe dudes might not realize this, but like suntan colored tights were like the thing in the 80s, especially when you're pasty white like me. And my coach and his wife dressed up than I did, and like nobody else did. I was like, y'all are no fun. And I put on like pink blush, and I actually went into my 4-year-old's room and was like, where's your makeup? Because she has like blue eyeshadow. I don't know. But man, was I hot working out in that stuff. It was just like, God, no wonder they didn't really do any work in the 80s. And they were just doing like grapevines and whatever little like hops and skips. Like they weren't actually working. I was hot as hell in that. Thank God for modern technology. God bless those clothing engineers. Okay. Cindy was wondering how long it would take to get a full caseload for my job. They said within 3 months, but I feel like it might even be sooner than that. But I feel like within 3 months' time, you'll be loaded up. I almost feel like don't be in such a rush. Like I know you really want to be, but it feels like you need this time to sort of adjust to it. Hi, Lulu. Or Lila. I don't know which one it is. All right, Tiffany, I'll check in just a minute. Hang on. I have Stephanie on the list. And the other payments haven't come through yet, but it doesn't mean that they're not there. It just means sometimes there's a lag. Okie doke. Okay, wait, I have Tiffany for one. And Lily. Maybe that's Lulu. Good to see everybody. Wait, Oh, Dan, thank you for the validation. Sometimes things don't make sense, or it needs to just like, I don't always say stuff the right way, but I hope it's helpful. Caramel Apple, please tell me what your name is on there, and I'll check for it. If you can just tell me your first name so I know what I'm looking for, because I know it's not Caramel Apple. I mean, it could be. I've seen some interesting names when I was a nurse, so. Okay. Yes, Cindy, you do have one question left. So I'm trying to understand. It says, also wanted to know the organization I'm still interested in is having intake around this month or next month? Next month. Underwood. Okay, thank you. I feel like it's next month, Cindy. And then I feel like, yeah, May, because it's already April. Ooh. Kayla, I have you for 2 questions, Miss Kay. Cindy, so I got you for 2. Allie, did you? Good. Allie, did you have a second question, or are you good with the way I answered it? More generally speaking, rather than. And Anastasia, are you on here? I think it's Anastasia or Anastasia, but I think it would be Anastasia. Oh, there you are. Hello. Could you type your question, please? So Cindy's are answered. There you go. KK's on top of it. Tiffany, I'm not to you yet, lovey. Okay, Anastasia, go ahead and type your question. Will I move from Ukraine in this next 2 years? And what about my career, money, and life? Okay. Oh, I didn't see that you wanted a general, Allie. Okay, give me a question. Give me a second. I'm going to answer Anastasia's, and then I'll do your general. I didn't see that it was like a whatever. You know what I mean. I got it, Anastasia. I got it. Okay. For the next 2 years. So I feel like you will. I feel like it'll be 2023 though, and I feel like I'm kind of asking like, where would you go? What region would you go? And I feel more being in like the UK or Western Europe. Is that considered all that area? Versus it feels more. I keep getting lent towards the UK, but I don't feel like that's like a permanent. It feels like maybe 6 months there, and then maybe doing something in Australia. Like I feel like a little bit of travel and hopping. I don't feel like necessarily living in the United States. You may end up in Canada, actually. But I feel like that's after doing these other traveling bits. I saw because you emailed me on Instagram. So full disclosure, I saw that you're a model, right? So I don't know that. I feel like that might be what you do initially, where you're doing like either print work or something like that. And then I sort of see you transitioning from doing that to being more, it might be that you're doing like, one of my friends did this. So this is the only way but I don't know that this is exactly this, where she did stuff in Vegas and she did like a car show, whatever it was. I don't know. And like memorized what was supposed to be said about the car and then talked about the car. And she was like, I got paid good money for that. Doing something like that. But to maybe even transitioning where I'm doing journalism work of some sort, like some sort of like, but in front of a camera. So like not writing, but like in front of a camera, because I feel you in front of a camera. So it feels like a little bit like I might do UK first. I might travel and I do feel like maybe a travel stint but it feels short going to Australia, whatever. I don't necessarily feel like the US right away. It feels like Canada first to me, like ending up there. But I see you doing like maybe news reporting. That's what I'm thinking of, some kind of reporting type stuff. So it's not just like because I feel like I'm using my voice. It's not just me looking, I'm not saying like, oh, it's so easy to be a model, because please, like I am awkward in front of taking pictures. I truly believe the reason why my pictures look really nice on my website is because my best friend was taking my pictures. So like I was very comfortable. But normally I'm like, how do I stand? What do I do? Like, so I like have a lot of respect for people who model because they make it look easy. So, but I just feel like you're putting your personality out there more and who you are. And I feel like you're smart enough to do that. It's like, I actually feel like working on my accent to kind of, make my English like really, really smooth and really like that's going to happen over the next couple of years too. So, but I feel like it takes time before you're kind of doing those things and traveling, and because I feel like I have to like get my ducks in a row in a way. Does this resonate with you? And I feel Toronto versus like if I'm looking in Canada, like I feel like Toronto because it's not that there's not other metropolitan areas, but it's also very close like to New York, and it's easy like kind of trip traveling. I do feel like whatever you do, you also have to travel for it. And sometimes when we bounce around like this, because they're telling me it's about connections, it's about making connections and meeting the right people. So it's not necessarily about it. Like it's going to seem like it's zigzagging for you a little bit, but it's everything falling into place. And the only thing I feel like really kind of holding you back is just all of the pandemic-y stuff. That's the truth. Is that's like sort of things opening up and making pathways and stuff. But that there's a reason the universe is also sort of holding you in this holding zone here. Okay, let's do a general for Miss Allie. They very clearly said to me, you have to let go of the past and move forward, Allie. So it's that feeling of holding yourself to like, this is the person I was. And if I change at all, then everybody's going to know that from my past, whatever. It's like, you don't have to be that person. You're welcome, Anastasia. Thank you for joining. I hope you like and subscribe and tell people about me. It's that feeling, Allie, of like, so an example is somebody I grew up with. I was friends with him as a little girl, and he ended up at a point kind of going down the wrong path, and he went to jail for a while for selling coke and like federal penitentiary, I think. I don't know, whatever it was like he's a felon, listed as a felon. And he sort of was like, yeah, but I had this as my story. And I was like, let that shit go. Like, you cannot move on unless you learn to let go. That was me. I don't have to hold myself to that person anymore. I can improve. I am better. That's not me. Not that I'm saying you're a drug dealer or anything like that, but it's like, that's an extreme example, but like, you don't have to be the person that was shy. You don't have to be the person that felt awkward. You don't have to be the person that was whatever. Like, that doesn't have to be your story. And they're sort of saying, like, just like, let it go and move on. And it literally does feel like just making the decision to be like, that's not that may have been my story. That may have been who I was, but I am no longer that person. I don't need to maintain that story in my head. KK, if you want to ask your question. And Dulce, you're up after that too. I actually feel like they want to give you some kind of project and make sure that you're up for it. And it feels like a focused project. I don't feel like you're getting fired. It feels very focused, like this is a big thing and we want to focus you solely on this instead of spreading you over several different projects. Is this something that would interest you? Or don't feel bad for changing. Listen, and I'm saying that coming from somebody who was like, oh, I was this person. And now, like, what are people going to think when I'm a psychic and I'm coming out as this thing, blah, blah, blah. And you have to get to a point where you're just like, fuck it. Like, I cannot live my life for whatever everybody else thinks or decides who I used to be, and just own who you are and enjoy it, because you're not living your life for other people. It's your journey. And if they can't handle it, see you later, alligator. Okay, I will look, Caramel Apple. Sometimes I get into my readings and I forget to look at this, but it does not mean that I will forget. And I know you guys will hold me to that, okay? What is your first name on here? Because it's not showing for me. Can you just tell me what your first name is? I think you did up there and I just missed it. So caramel. That's me and my colloquialisms. When you're from Texas, you call it caramel. And then everybody here was like, oh, it's caramel. Oh, I guess it is. It is spelled caramel, isn't it? Underwood. Okay, hang on. I'm looking. Okay, Shatha on here. I literally read badass when I looked at your name. I just that was my quick glance. That's what my brain did to flip your name, and no disrespect, but I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. So perhaps you really are a badass. Oh, I see you, Underwood. I see you. See, I told you it pops up weird. You got it. It like, instead of going to the top, it like popped down after somebody else's that was way earlier. All right. Okay, you're on there. We gotcha. I'm sorry, PayPal is a little sometimes. Thank you for staying on it and reminding me. I do appreciate that. I do not want to, I got mom brain sometimes. And then also I get like in psychic mode where I'm like focused. Okay, so KK, are you good with that answer? Does that make sense? Does that resonate? I just feel very focused. Whatever this is, I feel like I'm going to be very focused on it. Dulce, if you want to ask your question. And Shatha. I'm doing my first reading for somebody in Dubai this week. So I literally am reading for people all over the world. It's pretty cool. You're welcome, KK. Dulcie. Shatha. My heater's going and it's a little too far for me to reach. What do you see going to happen between me and B? Can you just tell me B's first name? You can always delete it afterwards. After you can always retract it so you feel, and I won't say the name out loud. It just helps me because I'm basically picking up off the vibration of your typing. Oh, Dulcie. Okay, I got yours. And then Laura H, I'll check for yours. You don't even have to go any further with that, Dulcie. I got the, I remember it now that you wrote that. Bass. Okay. So, and you can retract it. It's cool. Hi, Rockstar Wife. So, I hate giving these ones. This is literally what they said. So please do not shoot the messenger. They said he's going to get up and leave. My feeling is that he's not like super emotionally open. I feel extremely emotionally detached, and it's not just about you. So if you're like, oh, what's wrong with me? Like, it's so not you. This is him. He's unable to deal with his own emotions. So like actually being vulnerable and connected in a relationship is near impossible for him. And I just feel like he just gets up and leaves. And it feels like if I'm sitting there, it's like it's out of nowhere where I'm like, okay, what happened? Does this resonate? Because I don't feel like, oh, we're fighting and bickering a lot. It's like, oh, he just gets up and leaves. And they're also making you feel like, don't get tied up in feeling rejected or feeling like, what do I need to do to fix myself to be in a relationship? But they're sort of like, all you need to do is really start it. Even if you don't love yourself, you can find somebody, but it's that he's an on and off guy. Yeah. I just feel like he gets up and leaves and that's it. So I don't know if he ghosts you or whatever, but it just feels like done. I don't know that, I guess it's just a feeling like you can have anybody if you want to be in a relationship, but what happens when you really start to love yourself, and people will still love you even if you don't love yourself. It doesn't mean you're unlovable. But if you start to love yourself and really be like, I am a badass, I am amazing, I am these wonderful things, you stop tolerating and accepting someone just barely showing up. You stop thinking that just enough is okay. And it's not that you have to be high maintenance. It's not what I'm saying. Like where you're like, oh, he has to do all these things. It's not about that. It's just, are they barely showing up to the relationship? And when you start to value yourself more, you're kind of like, I'm totally okay with being alone rather than having somebody just barely show up because it makes me feel like shit. Like that's where you start to get it, being like, it's okay to be alone. Like, and I'm not saying like alone forever, but it's like your mindset and your mentality changes where it's like, unless you're willing to show up and like, be a part of this, then I don't really need to be with you. And I'll just wait till the show up guy shows up. Now, I'm happy to say I could be wrong. I've been wrong in the past. Maybe he does, but the feeling that they're giving me, and when they said it very clearly, he's going to leave, that's the feeling I get. And I'm sorry if it's not what you want to hear. So Dulcie, as far as that spirit, I feel like the spirit is connected to your house, that it's not necessarily connected to. So is this like a family home? Maybe that different generation, but he always comes back. Well, maybe he does, but maybe he's like, it doesn't feel like he's when they say it to me that way, it doesn't feel like he's the one. Now you can manifest a way that he's your SP, and you change the mindset. And they'll even talk about when you're manifesting that you change the mindset and you focus on yourself and not on them, and it shifts them. Do that all you want. I totally recommend it. There's tons of people who are doing it. My mindset is, because again, with manifesting, it's connected to that building. It's not connected to you. But I think, and I will tell you, explain to you, let me just finish this other thought here with Shatha. My mindset is that like, it's too hard for me to get over that old belief pattern of somebody who's continually over and over and over behaved, for me to recreate that and change that. And it's not worth it to me. Like, it's just like, I'd rather just start over with somebody new. That's just me. But there are plenty of people, and they will attest to it, that they would like say Bass would be considered your SP. But I sort of think like, once you, like you said, like, okay, you put out there what you want your SP to do, but then you just focus on yourself, building your self-esteem, building your career, doing what you need to do. And then a lot of because it's mostly women that are doing this on these boards that I'm on. There are men though too. Will say like, oh, I realized that like I was like totally tired of that crap and wanted better. And my thought is like, I don't know. I never broke up with somebody and went back to them. Like, when I was done, I was done. Because I thought, I don't need any more of that. Been there, done that. That's that. Dulcie. So the feeling I get is connected to the building, but I feel like you're supposed to be seeing this to open up your third eye and kind of develop your intuition more. It does feel like it's a male energy, and it feels like he would have passed away young, so 20s to 30s. And so the thing we have to remember when we're connecting in is it's not always our job to do anything for these spirits. Like, sometimes we help them. Sometimes we help them cross over and all of that stuff. But it's not necessarily your job. So you really do have a choice in it. And sometimes it's really like they're popping into, like, it's like, oh, she sees me. And then it's like you learning your awareness and honoring your gifts and your abilities. It's not about helping him move on. I mean, you can always send him healing and energy and letting him know, like, you acknowledge him, you've seen him, and like set that boundary, like, you don't need to do this anymore. Move into the light kind of thing. But I don't think he's stuck. I think it's more just, I think it's a lesson for you to like become more aware and opening up your third eye more. If it makes you uncomfortable, all right, buddy, skedaddle. It's time to leave. Sending you with love and light. Move on to the other side. Move on to wherever you need to be, but it is not here, because this is my space. And this is my plane of existence to experience as a human. So that's all you really have to do. It's not, everybody's capable of it. Shoo fly, don't bother me. You do it with love, of course, because it's always like better, like, it's cool for you to move on. I mean, listen, like I say to my husband, oh, I just saw somebody in the basement. And I go, well, a spirit goes, yeah, because you'd be more freaked out if it was a real human. I go, you bet your sweet ass I would be. Take all the ghosts in the world. I see movement and things around. I see little children energies and stuff, and I just like, okay. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't always feel, sometimes they're just passing through. Sometimes they come several times. Sometimes they're just passing through. Urban lady, let's see what you have here for you. Grandpa was laying down comfortably in green grass. Oh, this is your dream. Every day Grandpa was talking and standing next to me, looking at Suit Grandpa. Oh, interesting. Every day Grandpa tells me it's time. I nod and agree. Me and everyday Grandpa kneel down and hold Suit Grandpa's folded hands. Then I woke up. Everything in me says you already know what this means. Like literally everything in me says you already know what this means. There's a significance about 2 months. What does that mean? You're welcome, Dulcie. I used to see everything, by the way, Dulcie, as shadows. In fact, I would see shadows for several days and then they would go away and then somebody would die. So that kind of freaked me the fuck out when I was little. Then they shifted from shadows to other things. And now sometimes I see shadows and sometimes I see more details in my mind's eye. We do. So what is the 2 month significance? He's still, everyday Grandpa is still alive, right? If you want to email me offline and do this offline, I'm happy to do that offline with you. Are you okay? He's deceased. There's something about 2 months. So I don't know what that is. So they're saying there's something significant about 2 months. So transition in 2 months. Not necessarily his transition, but and I'm saying because obviously if he's already gone. So oh, never mind. I just got something totally different. So it's like putting away the idea of the fancy grandpa, like the way I saw him with starry eyes and everything else, and seeing him for all of his faults. Because I think maybe are there stories coming up now about family stories about maybe he wasn't so perfect and not having known those, like you held him with such high regard. And sort of like putting that picture away and realizing he was just a man, and but you can still love him every day, Grandpa. You love him just as much, even with all of that. Okay. That's fine. Kay, I feel like I got 3 weeks time. I feel like it'll be in your same area. Um, sorry, KK, you want to close the list, by the way? Yeah. It's still the feeling of like holding him in higher regard. Maybe he's taking some ownership of him not being perfect when maybe he didn't do that in life. And you're putting him away together and just letting him be. Like maybe he's finally letting himself be who he is. I don't feel like you're moving west. I feel like you're staying close to where you're at. Stephanie, Tiffany, you're up. You guys are up. I feel like initially you're living with a friend. Like I feel like you might be crashing on some couches for a little bit and then having a roommate. Okay, Stephanie. Can you give me your mom's first name? Since I'm reading your energy through the writing. That'd be lovely. Let's see, Oscar. I don't feel like you'll be living in your car. I do feel like you'll be like it again, it feels like a temporary, like I'm living on a couch maybe for a little bit and then I have my own place. But I don't feel like you're living out of your car. I don't think you're gonna be homeless. Did you wrote Yvonne in there and I totally sorry. And I think I even said Yvonne. Okay. Oh Lord. So I feel like he's a narcissist. I feel like she's codependent. And I feel like it was like, and he can't handle confrontation and he can't handle being called out. And so rather than actually be a grown man and have that conversation or have the discomfort and the argument, he shuts her out. Like literally shuts her out. But I also feel like she has a temper. And I also feel like she is like, when she gets upset, that she's a lot. I feel like she kind of knows this. Like she'll go to like 10 really quick, but then she like calms down really quick. And I feel like she kind of laughs at the fact that she'll go to 10 really quick. She's laughing. Okay. They won't tell me if it's not okay. Listen, also, everybody here knows I'm honest. I will tell you the way I get it because we're having this human experience, right? We're all human. None of us are perfect. And if we don't, like, if I just tell you, like, blow smoke up your ass and tell you whatever I think you want to hear, like, that does not serve any of us. It doesn't serve me energetically, karmically, whatever. And it doesn't serve you because it doesn't help you. And my whole tagline is empowering your journey. So if I'm not helping you by holding the mirror up, you can't get better. You can't enjoy this journey, but more. You can't see the beauty and the miracles in it because you're going to keep going and doing the same thing over and over. He just didn't want to deal with it at all. Didn't want to deal with it. I'm not. And And not because she did something wrong. It's because he's not emotionally mature enough to like be like, all right, I get that you're upset. Yeah, I did wrong. Like, doesn't want to admit he's wrong, doesn't want to apologize, just wants to be who he is and have somebody love me for who I am, but like not willing to look at like, that maybe sometimes you got to clean out the rot so you can have a healthy relationship. So thank you, Stephanie. I don't think that they'll be back together. I don't. And I think because she's going to go, I don't need that. Does your mom talk really fast? Like she gets all like really like. Do you call her mommy? And mommy, calm down. You don't have to be a medium. You just don't have to be. Everybody everybody has intuition. Everybody can see that, and especially when you're not in the situation. She's a Latina after all. Okay. Oh, but I really love the Hispanic culture, and all of my friends that like Latin and Hispanic, like everybody that I've ever known, I've just always really gravitated towards. Maybe that's why I was like, when I went to Spain, I loved Spain, ridiculously loved Spain. Maybe another lifetime I was Hispanic or Latina or something. Okay. Yeah, he's going to end up back in El Salvador. But I think he'll be back in like 2 years or something, like when everything kind of pans out. I don't know. I don't think he's gone forever, but I don't think he's hers either. So it's like sort of like, don't worry about it. They go, listen. Sorry for being at the table. They were like tapping me. Listen, she needs to know that she needs to work on some of her stuff, because it feels like she keeps attracting guys like Oscar, and the next one's going to be just like Oscar. And it's sort of a learning lesson for her to go, look at those red flags. Don't just take and accept anybody and everybody just because you want to be with somebody. So yeah, the pandemic is kind of delaying a lot of stuff and slowing things up, but it's also kind of a really beautiful and interesting spiritual metaphysical thing to watch how things get slowed down and why are they getting slowed down and what can you learn from it on a metaphysical level, not just like obviously it's getting slowed down because of that, but what else can you learn from that? Your father was abusive too. Yeah. So look at, why do I have these belief systems that I need to put somebody else's needs before mine? Somebody else is more important than me. Where did that start? Guaranteed it started as a child. And that was instilled unintentionally by her parents. Happens a lot. And I feel like her father specifically, I feel like her mother was very passive, and her father, not that she wasn't fiery, but her father didn't paint a very good example. I don't know why that hard was like. Therapy is amazing. If she doesn't want to go to therapy, get her a book. There's this book by Dr. Nicole LePera, and I think it's like called Doing the Work or something like that, but it just came out. It's her first book ever to be published. It's a New York Times bestseller. Fantastic. It's a way to do some of the work on your own. If she's not ready for a therapist, buy her the book. Maybe she'll crack it open and do the work. It's like a workbooky thing. Her father was completely absent, and therefore that would be why. It would come from him and not her. Like, meaning not her mom. Okay. Mindy, the list is closed. You're welcome, Stephanie. It's Nicole Lepera, Lepera. Okay, Miss Tiffany. The thing that happened at work. Oh boy. Oh boy. We closed the list before. Okay. Okay, Rockstar Wife has 2. Man, oh man. And Montoya Reed has 1. And then please, 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 we are totally closed. I will refund your money. If anybody else adds on, your Monday will be refunded because I need to be able to leave. Okay. Miss Tiffany. So the feeling that I got immediately when reading that was like when you're like, oh, it gave me all of this. It's literally in your head. Like if the situation is not as bad as you're interpreting it or perceiving it, it's the racing in your mind that it's worse than it is. And it feels like it'll settle down. It maybe like we have a talk and then it's like, but it's really not that big of a deal. So like, it's okay. Like it happens. Don't let it happen again kind of thing. Oh, sorry. Rockstar Wife has 2 and Montoya Reed has 1. So it feels like it's more here. So again, with manifesting, how do we do that? Like we change the belief system. It's like people appreciate me. People I work with, we have great communication. We easily get along. Or you can manifest this like it's no big deal. They weren't even concerned about it. It went away with no big deal. Like just telling yourself, and it's going to feel like I'm playing make-believe. That's what manifesting is, make-believe. And things start to fall into place. And for the anxiety, it's like, I am safe. Everything's okay. I don't need to worry about this because I am safe. You're not going to lose your job. Lily, what's your question? Laura H., what is your name on your payment thing? Just waiting for it to load. May I please have a general reading from Laura Hernandez, Dulce Laura Hernandez? It did. Who's the other Dulce? Oh, man. I was thinking that was you and you changed your thing. Who's the other Dulce? Oh, there's 2 of you. Good Lord. Yes, you came through. There's just too many sweet people here, y'all. That's fine. Gotcha. Okay, Laura H., we'll add you on at the end. Okay, you're here. It's both. Allie, it's both. Okay, general reading for... I feel extra stressed with you, like lots of stress and anxiety. Like you aren't getting any breathing room. And you're taking on too much. And you need to like look at your husband and say, I gotta go do some stuff. And like whatever it is, go breathe. Like it just feels like really needing to calm and deep breathe. I hate telling people to meditate because I feel like it's like I'm not meditating all the time. But it just feels like needing to make room for yourself and show up for yourself because I just feel way overwhelmed. Like it's your kids, it's your job, it's the dog, and I feel like you're also like because your husband's starting this new venture, like that you're like taking on a lot more responsibilities. And I don't think he realizes how stressed you are. And it feels like you need to tell him because you're doing way too much. And, yes, while he may be the moneymaker, you are also working. And it feels like just being spread way too thin. So it just feels like needing to take a little bit of time for yourself, and make sure you're doing deep breathing and like sort of working on healing all of that, like that, releasing stress and asking for help. Because it's just, you're really spread thin is what they're showing me. The feeling I get that you're having with your, like they're showing me, like I get with my daughter, is like knowing that she really needs to get back into school and like be around her friends. So maybe you need more help. Maybe you need to specifically figure out, what do I need to do because I'm feeling so stressed, and figure out really what you need and ask for it. Because maybe he's helpful, but maybe it's not really helping you in a way that you really could use help. So communicating your needs so that you feel like you can breathe. Like, it does feel very short term that you're going to feel this way, but I feel like you really do need to ask for help in the short term. Retire. You'll be able to, actually. I feel like within the next 5 years, you won't necessarily have to work. So I do feel like he'll be doing well enough that that's not going to be necessary for you to work. All right, caramel apple, caramel. So I'm going to just try and say this as they're saying it. So they said, you really need to look within inside yourself to see how beautiful and strong you are. They said she's been looking outside of herself for a really long time. And then they show me that you're very confident in the sense that, like, you dress nice, your hair is nice, your nails are done, your makeup is done. Like, you look to the nines on the outside, but on the inside, you don't realize how incredibly strong you are and resilient you are. And they're sort of like, you really need to start recognizing that, and like looking at, like, instead of looking at everything as to where you're not and where the goals you've missed or you're not at that, like, look at how far you've come. Because I feel like maybe not the greatest childhood, maybe not like the best, coming from the best situation, and you've really, I hate that saying, pulled up your bootstraps, but you've really like come a really long way. And I feel like you need to honor like how far you've come and own that, and stop looking outside of yourself for other people to validate you, because you don't need that. You're welcome. Happy Easter, Lily. Does that resonate? And I want to say this too. What's interesting is it doesn't feel like I'm insecure about my looks, because I feel like you're really proud of the way you look, and that's awesome. Like, I feel like, whatever, but it just feels like almost like that imposter syndrome, like as far as like feeling smart enough, feeling accomplished enough, feeling, valid enough and worthy enough to be where you want to be, and like you're good. Yeah. So do those, go find the, like, I like Roxy's affirmations on like self-esteem and things like that. Cause they're just like, because the ones I've listened to that are from dudes are sort of from a dude's perspective. And it's always interesting to see what they think that we want. But sometimes they're wrong. So listen to her affirmations and to work on that, because sometimes it really isn't. I mean, yeah, there has to be healing, but sometimes we need to like brainwash ourselves to like be empowered, to know how empowered we are, even though you already are. And also do some reflective work to look at how far you've come. And you know what? If you were wimpy and weak, you wouldn't have made it this far. If you weren't amazing and capable, you wouldn't have made it this far. Rockstar Wife, your questions are up. Montoya, your question. And Laura H, you guys can all just jump in and I'll answer and then we'll be done. I'm so hot right now. And then I got this song in my head because the heater's on and I don't want to reach over and turn it off because normally it's over here and I've got it over here, a different setup because the kids sleep in the room with their grandma. When my mom is here, they all have like their little pallets and their cots and they all hang out. And then I hear that Madonna song, I'm burning up for your love. Okay. So Laura H, if you want to type your question, Rockstar Wife, Montoya Reed, let's go. You're welcome. All right, Rockstar Wife. Will my multimedia associate come back to work now that the employee is causing problems has been let go? Yes. Yes, and yes. And also I feel like a conversation will be had where it's sort of like, acknowledgement of understanding why sometimes it takes so long for things to happen, like the change to occur or the person to be let go. And also sort of like feeling like they're back. They had, like, you guys had their back and stuff like that. So I feel like that conversation is going to happen. But yes, I do. Absolutely. What's your second question? Montoya Reed and Laura H, if you guys want to type your questions. I'm tired. And I am sore from my workout yesterday. Is there a dark presence of an opposing negative energy around me and my husband? I don't feel like it's around you. I feel like he lends towards being a little bit more depressed and a little bit more the glass is half empty energy. And so it's not really a negative energy or like a demon or whatever. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It feels more just like he tends to have that heavier Eeyore energy. Does that make sense when I say that? And so it's sort of like, that's okay. Does that make sense when I say the heavier energy? Like he lends towards being like an Eeyore energy, like, woe is me, nothing's going to work out, it's going to fail again. And you're like, dude, no, it's not. Like, I feel like a lot of times you're like, I told you it would work out. I told you it would be fine. Does this make sense when I say that? Okay. And then they said, just now they said, well, I mean, you married the man. So it's sort of like you figuring out, maybe talk to his higher self at night, something like that when he's asleep, and be like, get your shit together. It's all okay. Um, but I mean, he is who he is. So like the energy is going to feel heavier, but it's not because it's like evil, bad things are around him. It's just, that's what he carries. That's sort of what he attracts. But again, it doesn't feel evil or bad. It's just like a lower, when you vibrate up here and somebody's vibrating down there, it just feels heavier. It's like, I gotta plug my computer in or we're going to have a problem. It just feels heavy and bleh. And if somebody doesn't want to see that, because it's sort of like he just doesn't, he's got the blinders on and sticks his head in the sand and calls it a day. And I survived. I'm okay. Everything's fine. Oh, I'm tired because I wasn't sleeping well. I had like a couple nights where I didn't sleep well. And then just, it just happens. I go through these like, and then I'll catch up eventually. And I was like really excited for my mom to come. I was like bawling. When I saw her at the airport, I like hugged her really hard. I was like, I missed you. I didn't care who saw. All right, that's that. Did you have, okay, that was your second one. So, what I would say is send him healing, send him white light, accept him for who he is, and just be like, yeah. And if you like are feeling fine and then notice like you feel like garbage when he comes home or you guys meet up or whatever, I don't know if you guys work together or whatever, just be like, oh, that's him, not me. All right. So Laura, hi, Nabila. Laura's general reading. And then Montoya, are you here? Are you here? Are you here? We are here. They said she needs to know that she's doing fine and she needs to stop worrying that the world is going to drop out from underneath her and just go with the flow a little bit more. Do you have tarot cards at home, or like, because it feels like I'm doing a lot of little things to try and get the answers, or maybe you're doing a lot of the like pick a card, pick a pile things like on here to like get the answers and get the messages. And they're like, sort of like, just chill out. It's all coming. It's all happening. Just relax. Have more faith. Go with the flow. Don't be so antsy. You're doing fine. Welcome, Nabila. Thank you for joining us. I am on every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So if you go to my website and subscribe, you'll get a reminder. Usually I do it Saturday, but I did do it today because I was busy. But you'll get the reminder and that I'm going to be on. And you can pre-purchase your reading. Right. So Laura, they're saying, stop worrying, get out of your head. So do those mantras then, like when you start to feel like your mind go crazy, like when I start to feel like I get triggered or whatever, I'm like, I am safe. I'm okay. Everything's great. That person was just, like whatever. It's all about them. That's like nothing to do with me. Even with that woman, like I didn't go into whole like, oh my God, it was like so horrible. I didn't say please. I thought like, huh? And like, even when I was talking to my mom, I was like, well, I mean, can you imagine like feeling like that, threatened by the whole world, that like you really need somebody to like, they didn't say please. They clearly said thank you. Like they weren't being confrontational or just downright rude. Like they just didn't. And like you feel the need to like, gosh, that must be rough. Like it just like went to a different place rather than being like that bitch. Cause that would have been easy, right? That's the easy response. And then I went into the bigger figuring out like, well, why would I have manifested that? What would have happened? What's within me that I need to heal? And then it just came in real clearly, like so it's like, sort of like, instead of getting to that, like, when's it going to happen? How's it going to happen? Whatever, like stop that and be like, all right, I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen if I'm manifesting. Let me just like focus on things that I have control over. I can say mantras. I can say affirmations. I am happy. I'm doing well. The world is, the universe has always got my back. Search for things that are going to reaffirm your belief in manifesting. People's success stories. Do not, like, when I go onto those boards, I found like I get into these really like awesome modes. Like I discovered this thing from a Reddit subgroup called, what was I called? Brazen, what was it again, KK? Brazen impudence, which is, they mean the same exact thing, which is just like being bold, being like I know this is happening. So I don't care what anybody else says, if it's impossible, whatever, like in your head, just being like, this is happening for me. And it was like this big light that went on for me. You guys should look this up. It's actually kind of interesting. And it's something to do with like Neville Goddard. And I was just kind of like, yeah, fuck that. I'm going to be that. I'm just going to be like, this is happening. I don't really care. Because I would get in my head, like because some of the things I want are like pretty big and weird, but like what everybody else would say is impossible. And I'm kind of like, yeah, why the fuck not? Like, pardon my English. Why not? And then there's that little party that goes, well, because like logically, and also when you have a family member that's like super cuckoo and mentally ill, and they like are like way out there, you start to wonder, like that part of you goes, oh, am I crazy too? All kinds of stuff that happens that your ego wants to screw with you. So brazen impudence is just kind of like, just own it and be it and go with it and like be bold, like without any doubt at all. Look that up. But anyway, so I was in that mode, and then I started looking at some of the things people post when they're like, I'm worried, I have doubts. Like, or like one woman was like, I have an SP that I've been in love with my entire life. And then the next line is like, but this stuff never works out for me. Well, what do you think you're manifesting? Like, if like they need to learn brazen impudence. That's what they need to learn. So that's what I'll say. Montoya, are you here? Are you here? Otherwise, I'm going to refund your money because I would like to go. I'm sure KK would like to go, and the rest of you might like to leave too. I don't know. Maybe you want to stay. All right. I don't see Montoya. I'm going to refund her money. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I will be back. I'm super excited. This is a big week coming up. Can't wait to get my vaccine. And I will also work on, for all of you in Canada, maybe we can get Manifest Canada getting their shit together and getting vaccines out better. Have a wonderful week. KK, I thank you so much again, as always, for being here. Everybody else, thank you for your love and your support and always being here and showing up. And I will see you next Sunday. Have a wonderful week.